West Country. So current pirates, it's usually Arabic or a dialect, because most of the pirates these days are centred around the Arabian bit, Somalis, etc. And they go out with their little boats, attacking these huge container ships. And sometimes they win, but they're normally too big for them to climb up and get on it. And there's not enough room, because you've got this huge boat and you've got 6 little ones with a crew of maybe 3 or 4. If they do manage to climb up, most of these boats now have mercenaries on board, and they will sort you out. Either they shoot you or just toss you back. Now, that's all right for the big boys who can afford to pay mercenaries. But, of course, we're paying, because our navy's out there, and it's sinking these little boats, which does cost money. You know, the amount of bullets you fire from one of these chain guns is absolutely amazing, and each round is probably about 50 pence to a pound, and they're firing them at several thousand rounds a minute, so it gets expensive. So we have got our navy, the Americans, it's NATO really, have got the ships out there attacking the pirates as they are coming in. But Houthi over there, they've got missiles which they get from the Iranians, and they also get boats from the Iranians, and so they go attacking the ships as well. And in fact they kidnapped a couple of boats and parked them in the side there with the instructions that if you come and try and get them back, we'll blow them up. Now the big problem there is that if a ship gets blown up and it's full of oil, what's going to happen? Oil weight all over the coast. So you tend to back off a little bit. So those kinds of pirates, I don't know how we're going to get rid of them, because it's such an ideal way of making money. You know, the Somalis get in there when they can catch one, they can then ransom it off for the best money. So it's going to be a problem. But the second kind of piracy, and I expect many of you will have probably done it, sometimes without knowing. And this is the business of counterfeiting. You can get whatever you want if you know where to look. Prada bags for the ladies. Now, they're much cheaper than buying the real thing, and they don't look too far off the real thing. So you've got clothing, you've got things like electronics. You've also got cigarettes. Millions of cigarettes are either imported or they're made here. Now, if you buy a packet of these cigarettes that look just like the Marlboros or whatever, you don't know what's in them. You've got absolutely no idea what they did to make these cigarettes. Same applies to the alcohol. They ship out bottles by the thousand. Sometimes with recognisable names, other times vodka and things like that have got some oddball names, but then you'd expect that with vodka because it's coming in from the east. So what is in your vodka? God knows. And we're talking in terms of ethylene. You get your ethylene and mix it with orange juice, soda, whatever you want. That's the nice ones. It's the other ones that are not nice, because some of the ethylene that comes in is not ethylene, it's sort of ethylene. And it's the kind of ethylene that makes you go blind. So you have to be very careful again about buying these drinks at cut prices in little shops. You have to be very, very, very careful. And what also happens, in Saudi Arabia, now Saudi Arabia is a great place because you can't buy alcohol. That's absolute rubbish. You can buy alcohol, you can get smashed as you want, as long as you don't let the religious police catch you when you're drunk, then it's back inside jail for that one. But when I was there, we used to make our own alcohol. We used to make beer, which is quite straightforward, but the great one was called Siddiqui, and Siddiqui was ethylene, pure ethylene, which is incredibly strong. And you used to have bottles of ethylene, and you pour it into a glass and pour in something else on top, soft drink of some sort, and that will be what you're drinking all night. Now, anybody would think you were drinking soft drinks. Not true, you were drinking really good stuff. It was good, because obviously when you've got engineers and you've got chemists and that working there, they will do it properly. You won't get killed. When it's other people doing it, they've not got the qualifications or experience, you go blind or dead. So be very careful of what you buy. Now, if we move on a little bit, software. Software is very expensive. Microsoft being one of the worst. Microsoft's latest idea, which, well, it's not latest, it's been around a couple of years now, Microsoft 365. You've got to pay for it every month or every year. You know, you can get a yearly one, which is a bit cheaper. But why the hell would anybody want to buy a program which you then have to keep on paying for? Crazy. So what happens? Your pirates get in there and say, well, buy this one, it's unlimited with Microsoft 365. You don't have to do anything. Maybe for a couple of weeks it'll work, then it gets blocked. But there is another way of getting around it. Office is one of the biggest problems. 365 is mostly Office. Now, if you want Office, you can do it without being a pirate. You can buy it on the web for 20 quid, Office 24. And that comes with all the right bits and pieces, and it is legit. I've got 3 copies. What I use. So that works, but that's not piracy. That's where somebody has used the system. But when we get to the final part, dark web. Now that's where piracy really takes off, because you can buy anything you want on the dark web. Usually it's going to be a counterfeit. I can remember last time I went on there, I can remember being offered bundles of €50 notes, counterfeit ones. But you just buy them for a couple of quid and you try them. They say don't try and spend it in big places. Try to do it in someone who hasn't got a clue what they're actually worth. So that's one of the things you can do. You can buy software, of course, free. But I think the worst part of it is that they have an amazing amount of pornography. Anything you can think of, they will have. And that is all stuff which really should be stopped. Piracy, well, sometimes it's fun because it's not harming anybody, you think. Rest of the time, keep away from it, because you are funding the criminals. They're the ones who are getting the money from it. They're making money, and you're not, because you've got something which will fall apart or kill you from badly wired electrics. So there it is.